Hey guys, what's up? It's Quicksilver here, and let me see, I guess before we get started on this episode, wanted to give you guys kind of a little quick behind the scenes kind of a thing that I'm working on and dinking around with. Um, I guess obviously, as you guys all probably know, 1.7 is just around the corner, so I am actually in the snapshot right now, and I'm trying to update the texture pack so that when 1.7 rolls out, you guys won't see me playing in an old texture pack or using the default or anything like that. But before I jump into that, I wanted to show you guys just a couple of things, and then I'll show you kind of some of the blocks that I've been working on, and we'll get into the main thing then. I guess one important thing, if you are thinking about doing anything with the the snapshot, or if you're thinking about doing anything, I'm not sure if this will apply to 1.7 as well. Actually, in one sec. Oops. Sorry, didn't want night to fall on us. If you are thinking about doing anything with a snapshot, and I'm not sure if this will apply to 1.7 as well, but you want to make sure that you update. I guess there's a 1.6.3 update. I hadn't really heard much about it, but a good friend of mine, Free Coffee, actually clued me into it. I guess the way the worlds are going to be generated once 1.7 comes out, if you have things like witch farms, or you are counting on using your nether fortress to kill wither skeletons, I guess I'm not sure all the details. I'm sure you guys can Google it and find the gory details, but the long and the short of it is there are some changes, I guess, in the way that the worlds are going to be built. And so things like witch huts, the new way that it's going to figure it out is going to be based, I think, on the structure as opposed to the coordinates. So if the structure wasn't actually built by a 1.7, then there's a chance that your witch farms may no longer spawn witches. They'll just spawn normal mobs and just be a dark place. And then I think the same thing applies to things like nether fortresses and the wither skeletons, all that good stuff. So anyway, if you're going to dink around with this, if you enable your Minecraft launcher to actually run the experimental builds and stuff like that, you will have an option for 1.6.3, and you want to make sure that you launch your 1.6.3 version of Minecraft first, and then just go visit your manually go visit your nether fortresses and your witch farms and anything that is structure based like that. For mob spawning, go ahead and visit it, load the chunks, and in theory that's going to fix it so that when 1.7 comes out, you won't have a non-functioning witch farm or nether fortress. So anyway, I think Assumeavoid does a pretty good little overview of that. If you guys want to Google that, I'm sure you can find it, or search it on YouTube. But I don't want to burn all our time talking about that stuff or this, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get through this really fast here and just show you kind of some of the textures that I've been working on. So I guess first of all, there are fish and our cooked fish. Those have not changed. They have added salmon to the game now, though, that you can catch when you are fishing. They've made some updates to the way fishing works. You can actually you can fish up some semi-useful items. I've gotten rotten flesh. Saw somebody pull up a name tag. So I'm not sure what is in there, but name tags, that's a pretty sweet loot to pull up out of the water. So might make it a little more interesting. But so there's salmon and cooked salmon. There are also 2 additional fish that you don't cook. I'm not sure what you'll use them for. I'm assuming for potioning reagents or something. There's a puffer fish and there is a clownfish. So you can find Nemo and you can do all sorts of bad things to him now. So that is that. Those are the items, and I think that's all the items that at least that I'm aware of that they're going to do. So if anything else comes in, I will try to keep an eye on it and make sure I have it done. Second is this kind of funky looking, looks kind of like a grass block. It's called Podzol, P-O-D-Z-O-L. And it is the type of block, I think, that appears in the redwood biomes. I'm not even sure if that's the right name. I've not actually been able to find one of those biomes or the clay canyon biomes, both of which look pretty cool. Again, if you want to see those, I think Captain Sparkles, probably probably any of the big name YouTubers out there have done a review on it if you want to check it out. But yeah, that's my interpretation of the Podzol block. It kind of looks a little more like the grass block that I'm using, so including the side textures. Incidentally, if you're curious about my methodology, I actually go to Google and I'll do a search for Podzol and see what it looks like, and I know the soil's kind of goofy looking like this, so that's how I base what I'm doing and how I'm creating the textures. Other than that, this is our dandelion. I never liked the dandelions, so I turned them into my texture pack, and they've been like that since I've been day one using this texture pack. The single rose is gone and it's changed into a peony, so that is my peony texture. So anywhere that there were roses in the old game, I assume that means that iron golems will now drop these. So they will no longer drop roses. So that's kind of sad, but they've given us better, so no need to worry. Next is this, I think it's called an ox-eye daisy, and I apologize, I know I'm going to forget the names of some of these plants. I've never been a plant guy. But these things will pop up in the world. There's a blue orchid, this purple puffy looking flower, no clue. These little guys, no clue what they're named. They've given us 4 types of tulips. Apparently they like tulips in Mojang. There's the pink one, the red one, the orange one, and the white one. And then new to the game, they've got 2 block high flower types now too. So I forget what this is, but then we have a sunflower, which is a little unique. It's the only 3 block texture, or actually 3 or 4, 1, 2, I guess 4 block texture in the game. So there's the bottom stalk, the top stalk, the back of the flower, and the front of the flower. So not that that matters a lot to you guys, other than it's a pretty cool block. The lilac bush, they have really tall grass now, and they have really tall ferns now, and they've given us a rose bush. So those are the new texture types, if you want to call them that. A butt ton of flowers, which I have seen profusely growing throughout the world. Additionally, they've given us birch forests, which are pretty cool. I think that's one right over there. Basically, it's just like the normal forests. Hang on, this is kind of loud, guys. I can't find it. Music and sounds. There we go. We'll just turn this down. Oh yeah, there's a lot more control over what you want to hear. So if you don't want to hear weather, boom, we'll no longer hear rain, monsters, players, etc., etc. That's good stuff. So a lot more controls over that sort of good stuff. But yeah, there are birch forests, which you can see over there. And what I thought was really funky is it looks like I knew they were redoing biomes so you won't get like a desert next to a like a snowy plains or anything like that anymore, or a snow biome. They've tried to blend them together so that a desert might lead more into a plains or into the new savanna biome or something like that. But they've also redone like the way that, like, this is an extreme hills biome, guys. And if you can't tell, I know on my screen it's kind of funky, the hills in this biome in particular are made up of gravel, just a metric butt ton of it. I've seen other ones that are extreme hills biomes that look just like the normal extreme hills biomes, that's like a tongue twister, that we're used to seeing. I've seen some that are built more out of like the smooth stone texture. So that's pretty crazy cool stuff. One other thing that I've got to start checking the heights, I'm not sure on our golem farm, is depending on the biome that you're in, if you are above block Y90, you can get snow. And that also translates into ice. So that's kind of the suck factor, is you can freeze water. So if you have a mob trap that's up in the sky, there's a chance that it could freeze. I'm not sure if it has to be exposed to the sky or anything. I've not done any extreme or any tests or anything like that on it, but just something to be aware of. There's a chance that if you have traps that are above 90 that use water, you may be hosed. So anyway, take a look at your traps and find a way to fix them if you can. Again, I think water won't freeze if it's covered, which might mean that sky traps and things like that are fine, but I thought I would mention it because I know I personally will be really, really pissed off if I have issues with some of the farms and things that I've built. So anyway, yeah, there's some really, really cool new stuff that appears in the world. The ice spikes biome I thought was pretty cool looking. Again, there's a lot of people that have done some reviews on these things. There's some naturally occurring lilac bushes in the wild. So yeah, lots of really neat stuff. Wanted to kind of give you guys a quick little heads up. Primarily, I wouldn't plan to even talk this much about the upcoming update, but just wanted to kind of show you what I've done with the texture pack in preparation for it. And with that, I will shut up. I will get out of the snapshot, and I will head back into our world. Okay, guys, I was actually, I lied. I was headed back to I guess just to get out of here for a little bit. I was kind of goofing around. And here's an example of all the flower types, man. They, what is this? What is the name of this texture? I guess it's called a flower forest. And if you guys can see down there, there are just a ton of all the different types of flowers that I was showing you guys just naturally occurring in the world. It is out of control, man. So yeah, I mean, you shoot, open up a flower shop. Crazy, crazy. Alright, now I really will shut up and show you guys back into the normal world. Alright guys, so here we are back in the normal world here. And I think this video may turn into a little bit more just pre 1.7 worries, etc., etc., and things to let you guys know about. So I think it's kind of important stuff. I'll get to a little bit of a build here in a little bit, but one thing I think I just pointed out to you guys, sorry, I actually recorded the first half of this last night, and there's been a little time between. One of the things that I'm pretty sure I pointed out was that anything over block level 90 can turn in, it will get a layer of snow on it and can freeze water. So I'm a little concerned because my Y height on this bridge is 94, which means that the house, the bridge, the mob farm, and the iron golem farm are all going to be susceptible to ice and snow. So I think I'm okay in the little water trough here where the golems are going to pop out. However, the water that's up here that the golems pop into is going to be an issue. I'm a little concerned about that. I think, if I understand, and maybe I'll do some off-camera testing, I think if you cover ice, or if you cover water in an ice area, it will not freeze. If that's the case, then I should have a pretty easy fix. I'll just throw a little half-slab roof over top of this thing, which will be a little bit of a pain in the ass to do, but not the end of the world. Certainly a lot better than if I were to lose the functionality of the top half of these iron golem farms. So I'm probably going to do a little playing around with that stuff off camera, but if you have any builds that are over level 90, you probably want to take a look at those, just to make sure that you're not going to have any ice issues or anything like that. Other than that, I think we're going to be okay here. You know, we're at 83, 84, so I don't think we're going to lose any of the farms or any of the water device things. The mob farm, I got to get away from these pigs. This thing is so out of control. I still need to do a tutorial on this thing in case anybody wants to build it, but yeah, I highly recommend it if you need to get a bunch of pigs. It certainly seems to be working. So that is that, and I guess on to the build now that I have successfully chatted my way through the concerns that I have about 1.7. I think I'm going to go back down under here. This area seems to be, I'm really liking it, guys, and it's kind of turning into a little bit of a hub. And since I want to do this anyway, I think it'll be kind of a quickie kind of a build. I think, I mean, our wheat is just crazy good. I've got obviously about a half a double chest full of wheat, and obviously I've been making a bunch of that into bread. I'll continue to do that as we work down here. But my thought is I think I'm going to open this area up just like we've done here, and across the hallway here I'm going to build in a little bakery. So I'm going to have a wall that's going to have cocoa beans on it. I'll get a cow down here and a chicken down here, so we'll have access to milk and eggs, and I'll probably build a little reed farm so we'll have some sugar. But yeah, I'll just build a little room back here and turn that into so I guess we can call it a bakery. So I think I'm going to have the room for it. I don't think there's any critical redstone, at least I hope there's not. I may do a little quick check just to make sure I'm not going to punch through here and knock something out, but I think we should have some area here where we can build. So I'm going to get started on that, and once I've cleared out the room, I will be right back. Alright guys, so I've got the room roughed in here, really basic room. It's just going to be a 5 by, I'm not even sure what the width of this thing is, 3, actually it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so 4 by 8 room, 5 by 8 room actually. I'm going to grow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace one wall with jungle wood, and I'll grow cocoa beans on it. The other wall I'll have a little trough for a reed farm. I'll actually put it behind the wall, and I'll just put sand here, and I'll have the reeds that'll grow in it. I'm going to have a little egg collection area, and then I think I'm going to put a cow probably over here, and I don't want it to hear him, so eventually I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to automate this guy and stick him in a minecart. So we'll have a button on the wall here or here that we'll hit, and it will send him away and call him to us when we want to collect some milk. Maybe I'll actually just use a pressure plate or something in the floor. So anyway, that is the basic plan, and maybe I'll set the chicken collector up, or egg collector up over here. As you can tell, I did do a little digging back here. There was some coal that I had to get. So anyway, I'll build a little more, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so we've built it out a little bit more. Pretty clearly I've done a lot of work in here actually, but nothing too crazy, just mostly decoration. I've dug out some stuff so that I can get the fundamental stuff in here, but I did want to at least show you, I guess I'll start over here with the sugar cane first. Did want to let you guys see where I was placing the water so that you know how this stuff is going to be growing. So I'm going to go ahead and place that, and then I did place my glowstone on the walls over here, which is going to serve two purposes for us. Number one, it's going to give us light in the room, and number two, it's going to help these suckers to grow. So yeah, I thought I had enough cocoa beans, but apparently I'm short a couple of them. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I widened this wall out one. Well, we'll just wait for some of this to grow. So that's that. Then I guess the next thing I'll show you, this is where I'm going to put the cow eventually. So he's actually going to live back here, stuck in a minecart. And what will happen is I will have a pressure plate that I'll throw down right here. And when I come walking over here, it will call the cart over and the cow will come rolling up here to us. So I think what I want to do to make this happen is I'm going to put a backward step here. So I'm going to use this will be our powered rail that's going to push him off when we want to send him back, because I don't want to leave him here. I want him to come to us automatically, and then when we are done with him, I want him to go back and get put away. So that is the goal, and damn it if I didn't bring enough powered rails. Alright, well, I'll go grab some of those in a minute, but that gives you the general idea. I'll seal this thing off and do the redstone work once we actually have the cow down here, I think. What I'm doing to try and get the cow, I'm actually trying to overload the cow farm up top. So once I get that overloaded, I will grab a and that stuff grows quickly. I'll grab some wheat and I'll bring him down here and I'll throw him in the cart. So that will get him taken care of. So then I guess the last item really, and I built this kind of out right here, so I'll have my chicken living back here on top of this hopper, and every time he lays an egg it will get sucked right down in this chest. But I guess we got to get our chicken in here, and I'm hoping I can do that. I brought a bunch of eggs with me, so I'm going to see if we can get lucky here. But I think the way I'm going to hold him in here is I'm going to do this with a fence. So that should give us that, so that should hold him in there. I was hoping I could just throw the eggs back in here, but it looked like they weren't breaking back there, although I don't know, they look like they are now. Anyway, I'm going to do it from above here, and then once we get our chicken in here, hopefully he won't be running around too much. No, don't tell me I'm just chucking them in there. Yeah, okay. Come on, get me lucky here. I hate this. I hate trying to breed chickens this way, but if we gotta, there we go. Okay, good, good, good. As long as he stays back there, I'm not sure what'll happen with the baby chick, if he'll try and get out of there or what he'll do, but we're going to do our best to make sure he doesn't, and hopefully, man, I hope that's going to work. We'll see. I guess if it doesn't, I'll figure something else out. I was going to put a half slab here, but I thought it might be kind of nice to be able to see that guy. So that's the general look there. And yeah, looks like things are coming together here. I'm going to go ahead... I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of our cocoa beans planted, I guess, here. So yeah, these things, man, they grow quick. Ultimately, I am going to go ahead, I'm going to automate this thing as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a button. Ooh, that's what I was going to put right there. Well, I'll put a button somewhere around here. Maybe I'll do another pressure plate. I'll put it over here or something so that when I step on it, I'll have a bunch of pistons beneath the wood here that will shove up, which will knock all our cocoa beans off. And then I'll do a smart piston up above it, which is basically an array where you have a redstone torch, a repeater, and then no block, and then the rest of your circuit is over here to make some more pistons that are up above fire back down. So what will happen is when all these logs get pushed up, they'll get pushed in between our repeater and the rest of our circuit, so they'll complete the circuit, and the redstone will transfer through the logs, which will then make the pistons that are above the logs fire off and push these things back down into place so that we can replant them. So that's the plan. Man, those things are growing quick. Alright, so I think we have the start of our bakery underway. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave some eggs in here. I'll put our cocoa beans over here for now. I may need to find more room for a chest. This is just temporary storage for me so that I have a place to keep everything down here, but I don't know, we'll see how this thing shapes up and kind of go from there. One other thing I do want to show you, I think we're probably getting close to the end of the video, but I did want to show you one other important little modification that I made in the wheat farm. I saw this in Monkey Farm's video, and I also noticed the same thing happening with me a couple times when I would harvest this. The way I had my water source blocks just kind of placed like this, these are fine because anything that plops into them just goes dropping straight down. But the ones that are over here in the side, when they were still blocks, and what was happening is when the water was pushing off some of my wheat and seeds, they were just dropping right in there and just resting right on that edge. So what I did was I pulled the water source blocks out, dug a block back just like Monkey Farm did, and then dropped in the water source. So this is actually flowing water now, so anything that drops into there is going to get shoved right back out. And just did the same thing with all the water blocks that are in here, aside from the ones on the tips here. All of them are moving now, so there's no way for things to get stuck, so I'm not losing any of my drops there. So yeah, I wanted to share that little tip with you. If you are following along with me on that and you do choose to build this thing, that is one modification that it's not important. I mean, if you don't make it, I mean, it's not the end of the world. This thing's punched out so much wheat, it's ridiculous. Without that, you know, this has all been harvested without those fixes. So, and I did do it on both sides just to be thorough. But if you guys don't feel like you're going to be losing a bunch of wheat or seeds or anything like that, because it's just ridiculous how much this thing produces. So, alright, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call that an end to this video, and in the next one we'll finish out the bakery. In the meantime, I'm probably going to finish out my texture updates. Well, yeah, we'll finish, well, let me backtrack that a little bit. We'll finish out the bakery, meaning we'll get I guess the harvester for the cocoa beans in place, as well as the cow come to me and go away. I don't know what you want to call that thing. The call button and the return button. So we'll get that all finished out. And in the meantime, I don't know, I did a little supplemental video discussing ice when it goes with 1.7 and the fact that things above block 90 are going to freeze. I'm going to have to put a cover on my iron golem farm so I don't lose my water source blocks up there that shove my golems around, but I'll do that off camera. That's just going to be an annoying little project that I'll do. But yeah, other than that, I will go ahead and I'll finish out my texture pack. And I'm not sure when 1.7 is scheduled to be released, but I'm hoping it's pretty soon, because there's some really cool new stuff in there, and some really cool stuff that I've done to the texture pack. I've reskinned a bunch of things in addition to the blocks that I had to create for 1.7. Given hoppers a facelift. There's some snow block things and things like that that I just never noticed that I hadn't updated in my texture pack that I've addressed. And some other little neat things like that. So I did put a piece of artwork of my own in there, but I'll do a separate video that'll just kind of showcase all the changes that I've made to the texture pack. If you guys like it and or using it, it's going to be worth getting the update. So yeah, I think that's going to be about it. If you liked what you saw, please leave a like, and if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe. I look forward to seeing you, and I'll keep putting out these videos, guys. See you next time.